Hello. Today I would like to make a short video about a very beautiful saying of Jesus. He said, resist not evil. Resist not evil. It's very profound and very deep, very metaphysical, very biological and psychological. It's one of the great secrets to life that you must learn. You must learn this. But today I want to start with the basics, so you hear it. Resist not evil. In other words, let's start with something very basic that you can start to do right away. Resent not evil. Don't resent evil. Don't resent people. Don't resent situations. Don't resent your circumstances. Don't resent opposition. Don't resent phoniness. Don't resent a chair when you bump your knee on it. Don't resent life. Don't resent fate. Don't resent anything. Resentment. First of all, resentment is the emotion of pride. It stimulates pride. It upholds pride. The ego imitates God. God is great. And God is deserving of worship and honor and praise, isn't he? Well, when the ego imitates God, then the ego tries to be like a king or a queen, demanding and expecting praise and worship, glory. Don't we want praise? Don't we want to be acknowledged and worshipped and admired and respected and all of that? Well, that's the one side of the pride. But remember, pride makes for enmity with God. See, when you imitate God, you come in conflict with God. When you pretend to be God, you come in conflict with the real God. That's how you know God exists, when you have conflict with him. The other side of playing God is to be a judge. See, God is both king and judge. So the ego judges. And oh, how fallen egos, unwashed egos, untutored egos, unrepentant egos, how they love to judge other people, overtly or secretly. So now, judgment. What is the emotion of judgment? It's resentment. That's what it is, resentment. Resentment is a judgment. It's a hatred. See? But when you judge another person, when you resent the other person, that resentment builds pride. And what is pride? It's conflict with God. It's enmity with God. And what's the old expression? Pride goeth before the fall. See? So pride is not a good thing. So you don't want to foolishly build your pride. See, some people don't really want to be proud. Yes, we have part of us that likes praise, but we don't like criticism. You have to see that part of you exists. See that it's not so good. Be a little embarrassed about it. Don't try to change yourself. Just see it. Just see it in the light. Just see it. But don't foolishly cultivate that side. Stimulate that pride side. Nurture that side. See, the people in the world, the motivators, the authorities, they all know how to stimulate pride, how to get to you, one way or another. See, so have you noticed some people, they study you. When they meet you, they kind of study you to see what weakness you have. They look for a little vanity, a little something that's too important to you, a little naughtiness, a little sleaziness, a little something that you want too much. See, they scan you, they study you, and then sometimes they move in with their scam to take advantage of you when they see what your weakness is, your need for love, your need for approval. See, they see it. They know that it's a weakness. Don't resent them for that either. Don't resent yourself for your weakness. Okay? But resist not evil. Now let's talk about resist not evil. See, what resentment is, it's a kind of an opposition. It's a kind of an opposition. See, when you judge another person, you separate yourself from the commonality of all humans. See, we all have something in common, don't we? We're all humans. We all we're a community of human beings. So the moment you resent another person, hate another person, look down your nose at another person, see, what you're doing is you're separating yourself from commonality, from humanness. See? So that separation. See, it does two things. That resentment, not only does it put something between you and the other. When you resent someone, and there's something between you. Communication then after that is not so good. It's a kind of a block. It blocks love. Okay? So that's one thing that resentment does. The other thing it does is it colors your ideas. See? Once you form a judgment, then the next time you see the person, you have a tendency to reinforce that judgment without seeing the real person who may have changed. But the other thing that resentment does, by stimulating pride, by reinforcing pride, supporting pride, it maintains that pride, which then also resists God. So it's one of the worst things you can possibly do, this resentment, because it separates you from the commonality of goodwill of the human race. By hating another human, resenting another human, judging another, condemning another human, on the one hand, and it separates you from God, because it's a forbidden act. Hating another person, judging another person, condemning another person. Christ told us not to do that. See? And it blocks love. You cannot resent. See, you can't resent and love at the same time. It's impossible. So it blocks love. So it's bad, no matter how you look at it. But resistance. Now, what does this resistance do? See, any kind of resistance. When you look at nature, for example, if you see a meteor falling through the sky, as it enters the atmosphere, it's moving at high speed, and it encounters the atmosphere, it encounters the air, oxygen and nitrogen and carbon dioxide and so on, right? Molecules. And the force of its movement hitting those molecules causes what? Heat. Intense heat. Okay? Resistance. Now, what happens when you are full of resistance, full of resentment, irritation, anger? See? Then what? Then you become tense. There are a lot of reasons for becoming tense, but one of the biggest ones is anger, resentment. See? So when you're tense, then what? Tension is a kind of a resistance. It's a body language of resisting another person. Hating another person separates you from love, separates you from, see? So that resistance then gives out, you need energy to resist. To become tense takes energy. Anger takes energy. They all take energy. The energy is brought up, and then it is used for the tension. But then what? You've used up some of your life force. See? You've used it up. You only have a limited amount of life force. When it's all gone, then you die. You've used some of it up. See? Not only that, but as you bring that energy up, it can also be taken. See? When something becomes, in nature, when something becomes hot, your resistance, well, that heat can then be used, can't it? Can be used by something else. Any kind of resistance, any kind of energy that's called up in resistance then can be taken from you. So I think this, I've said enough. The main idea is there are various ways, all these different things, tension, nervousness, anger, irritation, those are all forms of resentment. See, they're all forms of resentment. Resentment you have control over. If you've been nervous and tense and anxious your whole life, then when somebody comes along, then you become tense. You see what I mean? When you're in traffic, you become tense. See, it's resistance, isn't it? But it doesn't do you any good. It's like the classic example, someone sitting in an airplane seat in a jet that's taking off, and then they grip the seat, and it's like they think they can do something to help the plane get up into the air. But you're not accomplishing anything. So what are you accomplishing when you're tense in traffic? When you're tense around someone? When you're, see, it doesn't accomplish anything. All it does is make you drained and tired, and doesn't accomplish anything. So like I said, through conditioning, you've conditioned yourself to resist things. And and the other problem is that it's like Pavlov's dog. You know, Pavlov, in the laboratory, remember Pavlov was the great experimenter. He had dogs, and he brought food. He would bring food, and then he would ring a bell. Whenever he brought food, he would ring a bell. And pretty soon, the dogs would begin to salivate when the bell rang, because the bell cued an idea, the idea of food, and then they salivated to the idea of food. So now the idea of going to work, the idea of traffic, the idea of paying a bill, the idea of talking to your kid's teacher, the idea of facing your boss, the idea, see, these things, to the idea itself you react with tension. See? So you're going to have to take a good look at your attitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. Who said that? That's right. So an attitude of being resentful, judgmental, see, judging and who do we judge the most? Those nearest to us. Your husband, your kids. See, not only is it unfair to them, not only does it put some kind of a block between you and them, but it blocks love. So it's just bad all the way around. So you have to look at resentment. A lot of people say, well, I deserve, after the way he treated me, or after what she said to me, I have a right to resent. Well, maybe you have a right, but it's not good. And Christ said not to do it. There are a lot of reasons for not resenting, see, evil, not resisting evil. See, and I've given you some good reasons. Not only is it a forbidden act, not only does it make you prideful and ugly, not only does it destroy your block love, but it has bad effects on you and your body, going around tense and angry all the time, and then feeling drained. So learn to go through life like a tourist on vacation, just looking at things. And don't overindulge. Don't be the tourist that overindulges. See, tourists overindulge. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying eat too much and drink too much, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying go through life lightheartedly, just noting things. Isn't that interesting? Wondering about that, and see, don't try to figure it out. Just marvel at all the things you see. See, like a tourist on vacation. Okay? And then it won't upset you. See, things won't upset you. Just look at it. If you go to another country and you see all kinds of people and they wear different clothes and have different kinds of food and different customs and different way of talking and different everything's different. Does it upset you? No. You just marvel at it. Well, that's where you have to be and learn to marvel. Marvel at your husband, your wife, your kids, other people. Don't hate them. See? You don't like them. How do you feel when they hate you, when they resent you, when they judge you, when they look down at you? when they misinterpret what you said or did, or blame you, how do you feel? You don't feel good about it, do you? You say to them, well, you don't know the circumstances, or you're misinterpreting it, or, see? Well, the same thing. So make allowances. There's another way of putting it. So now go through life, make allowances for others. Overlook. See? Little things that people do and say, just overlook. See? You'll be glad you did.